What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, if you could hit the subscribe button, if you could like the video, any comments that you want to make, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And yeah, again, apologies. I am still sick. I'm doing a lot better than what I was, but Jesus, this thing has got a grip of me and I can't let it go for some reason, for whatever. But anyways, we move on. So let's have a chat about Leeds versus Huddersfield. This was a game where I kind of felt if something was going to go wrong, it was going to be in this game. Obviously, it's ended 1-1, and I think with results going the way that they are, let me just do a quick refresh. Yeah, Ipswich have beaten Plymouth 2-0. Still extra time in Birmingham City and Southampton. They're drawing at the moment, from what I can see. But anyways, we move down to third. It's not the end of the world, as some fans might think, but I'm going to get into that in a bit. We were not at the races at all today. There's no two ways about it. We just weren't. Huddersfield had a clear game plan, and that was to kick the living shit out of us for the first 45 minutes. They did that. I don't think it's so much that it rattled us. It just kind of, it just really interrupted our play, and we never really recovered from that. And we just made it more. We played into their hands is probably the right way of saying it, and we never really recovered from it properly. And the one thing that they are very, very good at is set pieces. We give them a silly free kick away, and they get a goal. So we should have scored as well within the first 3 minutes. I don't know what happened, but there was quite a few players who didn't turn up today. In particular, second half was probably still the same. It was a slog. Bamford gets the goal to make it 1-1. They've obviously gone down to 10 men. They should have been down to 9, if I'm being honest. The foul on Somerville was a direct rake down the back of his, literally from knee high all the way down his calf. And I don't give a crap what anybody says in that, but I've just seen now Southampton have scored a 4th goal. That's just hilarious, but there you go. So yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those days. It's what happens. We should have taken the opportunity, and we didn't. We didn't play into their hands. Sorry, we played into their hands, and we didn't play the game like we should have done. I don't think Farke did anything wrong. Why would you change the team? That's a team that have been consistently winning matches, won 9 in a row. There's no reason to change it. Taking Gray off and bringing Connor Roberts on did make a bit of a change down the right-hand side, obviously, with Dan James. But for some reason, we just kept going down the left, and it wasn't working down the left at all. And I've noticed over the last sort of few league games, Somerville's not been on it, not been his usual self. Don't know why. Don't know if he's tired. Don't know if it's just not quite right. He's just been struggling slightly in terms of how much he can actually influence a game. I don't think Nonto had a good game either. There's too many players today that just didn't have a good game, and you can't blame that on Farke. The changes that he made were positive, and they did the right thing. They brought back the goal, but rather than them playing it down the right hand side, which is where the danger was coming from, they kept going down the left, and it's just the way that it is. It's one of those things. This is going to be a tight, twisty, turny situation. If you'd have told us 10 games ago that we would have 28 points out of 30, we would have ripped everybody's hands off. It's just one of those things. It's going to be tight, and Huddersfield had a game plan, and it worked for them. We played into their hands. It's one of those things. The big thing is that we didn't lose. That's the main thing. So we now go into the next match Tuesday. We've got to put it right. It's as simple as that. That's what we've got to do. We've got to go and put it right and do what we need to do, score the goals and win the game. That's it. That's just what we need to do. We've just got to move forwards, dust this one down, and move on. And for me, it might not have been the worst result. It's probably going to be a bit of a wake-up call for some of those players. There's a saying that familiarity breeds contempt. So you kind of there's one thing going into a game expecting to win and being able to execute the plan and win, but it's another thing where you might be arrogantly expecting to win and just turning people over, regardless of Huddersfield's position in the league and people thinking and fans thinking that we should just absolutely wipe the floor with them. Whilst on paper we should do. They're fighting for their life. It's, you know, they're going to make it tough. They're going to make it rough. And, you know, it doesn't matter what the game plan is. If we can't adapt to that, then it's just not going to happen. And, you know, just too many passengers today. Like I said, Kamara didn't have a great game. Firpo didn't have a great game. Somerville didn't have a great game. Nonto didn't have a great game. Bamford, until he scored, wasn't having a great game. Piru, when he came on, was ineffective. Roberts, when he came on, was good. More balls should have gone down the right-hand side, but they didn't. And it's just we are where we are. Now, the thing that gets me is this might annoy some people, but I kind of feel like I need to say it. Yes, we can be disappointed. I'd be more annoyed if we lost. However, with that being said, there is this arrogance sometimes with some of our fans that we should just absolutely walk over teams because we're Leeds United. And whilst that might be true to a certain extent, I don't believe that it is, by the way, we do not have a God-given right to get out of this league. You have to earn the right to get out of this league, and that is by playing games and adapting to certain situations. What Huddersfield did today is they reenacted what Wigan did, they reenacted what Preston did, and it worked because they know that we don't like being kicked around too much and we don't tend to retaliate very well to it, to clamp it down. What helps them is that the referee is the referee was shocking. He absolutely lost control of that game. When you look at it as well, in terms of the game, the first half lasted 55 minutes. The ball was in play for 22 minutes of those 55 minutes. That tells you everything that you need to know in terms of the type of game that it was. Very stop-starty, very, bitty. Nobody was able to get into a stride and do anything with it. But you read on Twitter and some of our fans are like, well, that's it. That's the playoffs, and that's the playoffs done now. We're not getting automatics. How do you know? Did the league finish today? No, it didn't. And so what if we have to go up through the playoffs? If we have to go up through the playoffs, that's because we weren't good enough to get the top two spots. It's that simple. If Ipswich get it or Southampton get the second spot or the first spot or whatever, and we don't, they've gotten it on merit. And we haven't. It's that simple. We do not have this divine right to just waltz a league and get through it. And we also need to stop with this meltdown and question marks over Farker and just Farker out and this, that and the other. They had a very, very bad day at the office. This happened over Christmas. It's a similar thing that's sort of happening again now. They had a bad day at the office. Is it a good thing? No, of course it's not a good thing. But they need to now put on a performance in the next game. But it's just this sense of just chucking in the towel. Well, that's it. We're not going to this, that and the other. Just calm down. There is going to be twists and turns in this competition purely because of the number of points that the top four teams have accrued and the way that everybody's playing. It's that simple. That's just the way that it works. And buckle yourselves in because it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride until it sorts itself out. I would rather have a little bit of a wobble today than have a wobble way later on down the line in the middle of March when it really starts to all take shape. But, it's so annoying sometimes when the stuff that you read on Twitter, it's like, yes, we drew, it's disappointing. It wasn't a loss. We picked up points. Sometimes it's more important to pick up the point than actually get no points. And whilst I understand that people can be frustrated, and that's absolutely fine. And, you can criticise players' performance. That's absolutely fine. But just wind your necks in a little bit is probably the thing that I want to say. Just some of the stuff that you see on Twitter, it's just hilarious. Just so defeatist. Nothing's over yet. There's still quite a few games to go. head down, get on with it, support the lads, let's move forwards. That's it. That's all that I wanted to say. Disappointing day at the office. It's one of those things. Chalk it up, take the point, move on, and let's go and get the 3 points in the next game. If you haven't done so already, if you want to hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to like the video, please feel free to like the video. If you've got any comments that you want to make, I'm sure you probably will, feel free, leave them in the comment section down below. And yeah, disappointing. I'm going to go sit in a darkened room and sweat out whatever this illness is inside me. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.